Score more with the college-branded Venmo debit card and earn up to 5% cash back with Venmo Stash. Got paid back? With the Venmo debit card, you can instantly access your balance and spend on what you want, like game day snacks, gear, tickets, and more. The more you do, the more cash back you can earn. Plus, there's no monthly fee or minimum balance. Sign up now at Venmo.com/collegecard. The Venmo MasterCard is issued by the Bancorp Bank N.A. Select schools available. Venmo Stash terms and exclusions apply at venmo.me/stash terms. Max $100 cash back per month.
For the News and Observer, I'm Dawn Vaughn, your Capitol Bureau Chief and host of Under the Dome. August arrives on Tuesday, so this week of July 31st into August, and there still isn't a state budget. But there's still NC poll news looking ahead to the 2024 election. But there are other elections here too in the actual year that we're in, 2023, municipal ones. So today for our first segment, I have two of our local government reporters here, Kristen Johnson, who covers Cary and Western Wake County. Kristen, thanks for being on.
Thank you.
And Mary Helen Moore, who covers Durham. After the break, we'll come back with two members of our state politics team this summer, but first let's get into local gov. Mary Helen, thanks for being on. We talked about Durham politics. If you're playing, Dawn mentions it on the podcast bingo about Durham, that does come up a lot, and more recently because State Senator Mike Woodard is running for mayor, but he's not the only one running for mayor, and there's a whole lot of drama and other things and very important serious issues going on in Durham. Kristen is covering Cary, other races in Western Wake, Morrisville, Holly Springs, Apex, and Fuquay-Varina, which we've got a lot of different things to talk about. Kristen, if you can start on kind of where are we on mayors that are running again or aren't and how things are shaping up.
Sure. So there are Cary, Apex, Fuquay-Varina. There's a lot of towns, so bear with me.
Mm-hmm.
So they are all running again for re-election, but they're running unopposed. So they're not really contentious races with the mayors, but there are a lot of candidates for town councils for all 5 towns in Western and Southern Wake. And there are some ones to watch. In Cary, the mayor is up for re-election in 1 at-large seat, districts B and D. And for District D, 2 candidates are running. Ryan Eads is the incumbent who was appointed last year after former Councilwoman Yalu left for State House. So he's running to keep his seat, but he's got 2 opponents. I have them all on my little list. He's running against Sarika Bonsall. She made it to the final 2 with Ryan last year for the appointment for District D. And if elected, she would be the first Indian American woman on the town council. And Rachel Jordan, she is a PTA mom, very active in the Cary community. For District B, Don France is running to keep his seat he's also Mayor Pro Tem for Cary. He's got 1 opponent, Michelle Craig, and Lori Bush is running to keep her seat for at-large. She's one of the at-large members with Carissa Johnson. Other than that, Holly Springs is another one that I was pretty interested in because one of the candidates for the at-large seat is non-binary. And if you know Holly Springs, there was a lot going on with the non-discrimination ordinance last year, and just recently the mayor writing the proclamation with no mention of LGBTQ people. So there was a lot of drama with that. And Jack Turnwald, their pronouns are they, them. They're running for one of the seats. And it's been pretty interesting to watch because forgive me, they have been very outspoken about the LGBTQ community in Holly Springs. And their representation would be very important for the town. So,
how much do you think this will come up in as people talk about the campaign? Is it just something that is there in a representation way? Is it something that'll come up? I don't know if they'll have local candidate forums or debates or anything.
They should. There should be a lot of town hall meetings about the election coming up, specifically about the issue of the LGBTQ community, since it's been such a hot topic in Holly Springs. Other issues like housing affordability, the environment, a lot of development in Western and Southern Wake County has been a concern for a lot of people who've been there. They don't really want to see their small town charm be lost in a lot of the development. So it'll be interesting to kind of see what each candidate has on each position. So.
Development in Durham has been an issue in past campaigns. I don't know if it is as much this time. What do you see, before we get into everyone who's running, Mary Helen, what do you see as far as being the top of mind for the big issues for Durham voters, or just what everybody is talking about regardless of who ends up on council?
In this election, as far as I can see, it's the biggest divider on the current city council as far as just ideological. There's a 4-3 split right now, and the 4 are often approving the developments. The current mayor is on the 3, who they typically vote against them, especially in southeast Durham, closest to Wake County, which is really kind of where a lot of the housing especially is concentrated right now. So yeah, development is a huge part of this campaign. There's also a lot of people talking about just biking infrastructure, which is part of development, right? The roads are crowded, transit is on the top of a lot of people's minds right now. And then of course, crime is often top of mind for a lot of Durham voters as well.
With development, are you talking about closer to the, I guess, sort of the Briar Creek, airport area?
Right, exactly. Southeast Durham, Leesville Road area, kind of very close to Briar Creek. And so that's why a lot of the people want to live down there, because it's close to Wake County, it's close to Briar Creek where you can shop, and it's close to the airport too.
So basically where, a couple of your municipalities intersect too in that area. Do you guys see that as being just overall triangle wise right now, the biggest area of growth, or things coming up at council meetings where there are rezonings or discussions or anything like that close to that, or not?
For me, yes. There's a couple big buildings going up in downtown, but a lot of that doesn't come to city council because you can pretty much do whatever you want in downtown Durham. They really encourage you to just kind of, build tall and build big. But yeah, for me, it's that area. What about you?
In Western Wake County, Cary specifically, there's the concern that they're running out of land to develop. So they're trying to find smaller pockets of unincorporated little areas where they can develop, recently a daycare. They just annexed part of a Green Level Church Road for the future of a daycare. So little things like that in Cary that they're really trying to put emphasis on. But there's also the downtown areas for a lot of the towns. They've got plans to revamp the older parts of town. So as new residents come in, they're trying to mix the old and the new. So they're not as there isn't a big push for big tall buildings, but you could see some of that in the future, especially in the more southern towns like Holly Springs and Fuquay Marina. So
okay. So, Mary Helen, so Durham's been growing a lot too, and we've got new voters there. Some of them know the people that are already on council, or people that were in council and want to come back, like Woodard running for mayor, who we already mentioned. So what's at play with all the new Durham, old meaning people that have been around longer, and these races? So if you want to give us the rundown of who's running, and then also all this stuff that's been going on lately.
And so we have a race for mayor that's got 8 people in it. And so we'll go to a primary that'll narrow that down to 2 people. The biggest name, there's 3 current elected officials who are running. One is our state senator for a long time, Mike Woodard, who was on the on the city council for a long time. We have Leonardo Williams, who's a brand new city council member, but he's been involved in Durham for a while. He was a teacher, he's a business owner, and he's got a lot of support, including that of our previous mayor before Elaine O'Neill took office, Steve Schul. So there was a dinner that was kind of I heard a soft launch for Leonardo at Steve Schul's house recently. So it's really interesting to see kind of where where people are aligning themselves. We also have another city council member running, who's Deidreana Freeman. She's a close ally of the mayor's. She's had a really tough year.
There was a contentious council meeting, and yeah.
There was a really tough argument that kind of broke out after City Hall, just after a City Hall meeting, and just cursing, pushing, and, so she is running. And then we have several other people too. There's actually 3 Williams in the race, interestingly. So Leonardo Williams, we have another guy, Marshall Williams, and Sylvester Williams.
The perennial candidate.
Wow. So that's interesting, hope people don't get confused there. And then there's a couple other people, Jonte Dunstan, who comes to a lot of city council meetings just to offer his thoughts, and Nick Pettiford, I don't know a lot about him, and then C. Burris as well, she's running too. City Council is another really interesting one. We have 12 people in the field already. We're going to narrow it down to 6 in the primary, and then 3 people will ultimately be chosen for those seats. There's 2 incumbents running, Javier Caballero and Monique Holsey-Hyman. And one of the incumbents, Jillian Johnson, decided not to run. So she is taking a break. But there's some candidates people are really excited about. Nate Baker, he's a city planner. Carl Rist, I've seen a lot of his signs up already. Sherry Zan Rosenthal is running. She's in the city attorney's office for a long time.
Baker's on planning commission, right?
He
Not
is
for the city, right?
On planning commission, yeah. Did I say that wrong? Thank you. I've seen a lot of excitement around Khalila Karim, who's a progressive. And then we've got a bunch of other names too. So it's going to be really, really interesting. I'm so excited to see. The endorsements will start rolling out over the next couple of weeks in August. We will start with the PA PAC, and then the Durham Committee will release theirs next, and then Indie Week in September. So it's going to be a fun summer.
And a lot of the council members they've been involved in People's Alliance or Durham Committee on the Affairs of Black People before, as far as their endorsements, and those carry a lot of weight in Durham, which, as listeners probably know, is very blue, but it's a nonpartisan race.
There's so many shades of blue.
Yes,
and
very much in Durham. Yeah.
It is nonpartisan. I think the PACs are going to have really tough decisions to make, because it's not like there's 1 or 2 progressives. There's a lot of them, and so it's going to be really interesting to see kind of how things shake out. I'm excited.
Okay.
This is my first election that I'm covering in Durham. So.
I'm excited for you. All right. We're going to take a break soon. Mary Helen Moore, who covers Durham, not to be confused with Mary Helen Jones, the Spectrum Capitol reporter. There's 2 Mary Helens in the triangle that cover politics. They're both great people. So, and Kristen Johnson, who covers Cary and the rest of Western Wake County. I'm so glad that you've been on. This segment's going to run a little bit longer, so we can include your headliners of the week, because when we come back, our 2 summer politics interns are going to be on. So I'll save my headliner of the week until then. But I wanted to hear quickly from each of you, who or what is your headliner of the week? Kristen, go first.
My headliner of the week is Barbie, making $500 million in its first week. I went to go see it last weekend, the day that it came into theaters, at the Paragon Theater in Fenton, because it's very fancy. I don't know if you've been there yet, but the movie theater there is amazing. But the movie I thought was interesting because it was so layered with like feminism and fun. Ryan Gosling did a really good job, and Greta Gerwig, I know she directed Lady Bird, so I'm not familiar with her work, but Barbie I thought was one of her really good ones. So go see it if you haven't.
I'm going to see it this weekend, and Indiana Jones too, because I'm doing Adventure Barbie movie weekend. So, Mary Helen, who or what is your headliner of the week?
Okay, my headliner of the week is our current mayor of Durham, Elaine O'Neill. She is going on national TV to participate in a town hall on crime Monday night. So it's going to be on News Nation. She's getting interviewed by Chris Cuomo, taking questions. So we don't hear from her a lot. So I'm really excited to see what she has to say. And then also mini headliner. So all of North Carolina's local elections happen on the same schedule. So mini shout out to my mother who lives in the town of Red Oak and who is running for the town council.
All right, Red Oak listeners. We actually have statewide listeners, so you might hear from somebody in Red Oak. So because y'all's elections, all the municipal elections, other than City of Raleigh, who moved to next year, but there is someone already declared running for council in that race. But we'll get to Raleigh another time. Hopefully we can talk more about Durham on another one, and more about Cary and Holly Springs and Morrisville and everything. I appreciate you guys being here. When we come back, we'll have Makiya Seminera and Jazper Lu. Thanks for listening, and we'll be back with more.
So good, so good, so good.
New spring arrivals are at Nordstrom Rack stores now. Get ready to save big with up to 60% off Rag & Bone, Marc Jacobs, Free People, and more.
How did I not know Rack has Adidas?
Because there's always something new.
Join the Nordy Club to unlock exclusive discounts, shop new arrivals first, and more. Plus, buy online and pick up at your favorite Rack store for free. Great brands, great prices. That's why you Rack.
I get so many headaches every month.
It could be chronic migraine, 15 or more headache days a month, each lasting 4 hours or more.
Botox, onabotulinum toxin A, prevents headaches in adults with chronic migraine. It's not for those who have 14 or fewer headache days a month. Prescription Botox is injected by your doctor. Effects of Botox may spread hours to weeks after injection, causing serious symptoms. Alert your doctor right away, as difficulty swallowing, speaking, breathing, eye problems, or muscle weakness can be signs of a life-threatening condition. Patients with these conditions before injection are at highest risk. Side effects may include allergic reactions, neck and injection site pain, fatigue, and headache. Allergic reactions can include rash, welts, asthma symptoms, and dizziness. Don't receive Botox if there's a skin infection. Tell your doctor your medical history, muscle or nerve conditions, including ALS, Lou Gehrig's disease, myasthenia gravis, or Lambert-Eaton syndrome, and medications, including botulinum toxins, as these may increase the risk of serious side effects.
Why wait? Ask your doctor. Visit BotoxChronicMigraine.com or call 1-800-44-BOTOX to learn more.
You're listening to Under the Dome. I'm Capitol Bureau Chief Dawn Vaughn for the News and Observer. We started off with a look at some local races and what's at play with local government reporters Mary Helen Moore and Kristen Johnson. And now we're back to talk state government with Makiya Seminera, N&O summer politics intern, who you've heard before, and our NC insider, N&O summer intern Jazper Lu. Makiya just graduated from the University of Florida, and Jazper is a rising junior at Duke. So Jazper, let's start with you about a story that you've been working on that by the time people are listening to this on Monday or Tuesday, will probably already be published. You can read it at newsobserver.com. Anyway, it's about one of the reasons why there haven't been no vote sessions lately is some of the Republican House members were at the ALEC convention, which is the American Legislative Exchange Council. So what did you learn about ALEC? What should people know that aren't already part of it?
Yeah, so right now, as we're filming this, the legislators right now are at the 50th annual meeting of ALEC. And what ALEC is, it's a group of conservative state lawmakers that come together from all different states and really meet about different policy issues, primarily around economic and business issues. But they've come up in the past and have faced a lot of criticism for a lot of the corporate funding that they take on, because how ALEC works is they're basically divided into task forces on different issues like energy, education, or other sectors, and they come together with different state lawmakers and meet with also representatives of private industries and other businesses that might have a stake in those fields, and they vote on these things called model bills, and these are basically just a sample text of what a bill might look like that can be introduced into various state houses. So my article really looked at what influence ALEC plays in North Carolina and some of the recent legislation. For example, this session there was a bill that passed that basically limited the treasurer's ability to invest in certain things based on ESG factors, which is economic, social, and governance factors. And that bill was, a lot of the meat of that bill was taken straight from ALEC, copy-pasted. And there's been a lot of legislation in the past that also are just straight copy-pasted from ALEC. So a lot of the controversy relies around, hey, are we giving too much say to these bills and its specific wording to these corporations? or is this kind of just like an innocent exchange of ideas between lawmakers for different states?
Okay. So we'll look at what kind of influence that's going to have this, if we see any final things in the budget or upcoming sessions. Makiya, from living in Florida, there's some crossover with Florida and North Carolina on certain things, other ones not. What have you seen with covering the North Carolina legislature this summer that is similar to Florida or significantly different?
So I think the thing that stands out to me is this constant override process, because in Florida we have the Republican supermajority, but the difference is we have a Republican governor, Ron DeSantis, who's also running for president, and he kind of just gets what he wants because the legislature in Florida will kind of pass whatever he wants, and he'll sign it and it'll go into law, and it's more of having to deal with those court challenges. But here, there's always that toss-up of, will Governor Cooper veto something and then it gets sent back. So just this kind of back and forth process is definitely something new to me. The higher ed system in North Carolina and Florida are very similar, I think. I'm actually working on a project with our higher education reporter, Corey Dean, looking at the political developments in both North Carolina and Florida's higher education system, looking at political influence, faculty reactions, and opinions on these things. There's the School of Civic Life at UNC that mirrors a lot of things in Florida, specifically at UF, having a Hamilton Center, which kind of has the same, tone to it of having this public discourse and wanting to have all this diversity of thought. So there's a lot of parallels in that respect. It's definitely very interesting in both places, I would say.
All right. So we'll move on to our headliners of the week. And also thank you both for being on again. And you are, I guess, in the last week or two of your internship. So hopefully on the podcast again before you finish up. So Makiya, your headliner, I believe, is a second vote since we had a quick headliner with the first segment. So I think this is probably going to win headliner, at least in some people's minds. So tell me about your headliner.
Yeah, I don't think I would be, representing myself as a girl and woman properly if I didn't put in my vote for Barbie this week. I saw it earlier this week and it was fantastic. But goes without saying that the women of that movie, all of the Barbies, fantastic. But I did want to give a special shout out to the Kens. The musical number in the movie that the Kens do is fantastic. I loved seeing it. Ryan Gosling, very funny. Didn't know he had that in him, so that was good to see. I want to see more Kens out there too. It's fantastic.
All right. My headliner is also about characters. It was GalaxyCon was in downtown Raleigh this past week as we recorded on Friday. There are hundreds, probably thousands of people here for that event. And there's a lot of traffic downtown, but that just means it's actually a thriving downtown. And sometimes you should wait a block or two as cars move going to an event. And when I was leaving the newsroom on Thursday night, the N&O is on City Plaza, and when I circle out of downtown, passing Red Hat Amphitheater, and I heard, "My name's Lupe Fiasco," and as all the GalaxyCon people were walking around, and then it was sunset, and I was like, this is just a really great city that we're privileged to work in and live in. I live here too, just not downtown. So anyway, downtown Raleigh being pretty active again, which is nice to see after some recent downturn. So that's my headliner. Jazper, what's your headliner of the week?
So my headliner is about Medicaid. It's been a very long wait for a lot of people in the state, but it seems like Medicaid is actually coming around the corner. And it's dependent on the General Assembly passing a budget next month, so we'll see if that actually happens. But if they do, there is a start date announced for October 1st. So that's exciting for a lot of people that will be covered by the expansion.
I think some people thought, because, NCDHHS is part of Democratic Governor Roy Cooper's administration, when they put out the announcement this past week that they were moving ahead. And part of it was putting pressure on the General Assembly to just get yourself together here and pass a budget or separate it from the budget. And Speaker Moore told reporters again, there have been no votes weeks, but the leadership has been around the building. And Moore said that he's good with Secretary Kinsley going ahead with that, assuming again that the budget will be passed by September 1st. So as you all are listening to this, it's another slow week probably at the legislature because no votes are planned. Everyone is still on vacation or doing other things. But Berger and Moore have been talking and trying to work out a budget deal. One thing they're not going to do is run a separate bill with Medicaid expansion, Moore said. So that's probably not going to happen. But are they actually going to pass a budget in mid-August? Maybe.
Guess we'll see.
Yeah, exactly. I guess we'll see. Our perennial, North Carolina politics comment. So, all right. Jazper Lu, Makiya Seminera, and I'm Dawn Vaughn for the News and Observer. Thanks for listening, and we'll talk to you next time.